All right, guys, we're talking about the South Irving Street corridor bike lane project that the city presented new plans this week. Originally in 2020, it was presented as a protected bike lane from Amherst all the way north to Kentucky. Since then, they've had community meetings. They've had feedback that people are concerned about speed of traffic here and retaining their on-street parking. So this week they proposed new plans. I'm here just south of Jewel, and they're proposing from this point all the way north to Kentucky, a bike lane on each side while retaining parking on one side of the street. It may alternate which side of the street that is. Then here at Hooker, they're sending bikes east, eventually to Hazel Court, winding through the neighborhood to the south. And then at Harvard, it will come back over and the neighborhood bikeway will continue south on Irving all the way to Amherst towards Loretto Heights. Another thing they're planning to do is to put speed cushions throughout this entire north-south corridor to slow down traffic. They're talking about adding more crosswalks, and they're adding a traffic diverter at Harvard. Now what this will do is it'll allow northbound traffic to continue north on Irving, while southbound traffic, when it hits Harvard, divert that traffic east and west into the neighborhood to hopefully keep vehicles off of the neighborhood bikeway. At the open house, I did speak with DOTI's senior city planner, Taylor Phillips. Here's part of our conversation.
So it began as a protected bike lane, really just because that was what was in our long-range plan, Denver Moves Bikes. That was updated back in 2015. They drew a line on the map. They said protected bike lane. They didn't have the speed and volume data collected at the time to tell us that we definitely needed that protected bike lane. So yeah, we've gotten to be able to collect that speed and volume data and learn that the volumes of cars on the road every day are not at that threshold that we need that protection. And if we can lower the speeds, then we can make the street a safe and comfortable place for folks to ride.
I went back and looked at the data from I saw presented in 21. The top speeds of 35 miles an hour, high volume of like 5,700, parking utilization at like 19%. What has changed from that first set of data collection?
Yeah, so really we collected data again last year, and it kind of told us about the same thing. Speeds are really high, vehicle volumes in the northern end of the corridor about that 5,000 cars a day. Southern end of the corridor though are about 1,500 to 3,000 cars a day, let's say. And one of the things that's really changed is the tools in the toolbox that we can use to slow speeds. Back in 2020, 2021, we weren't allowed to use speed bumps, speed cushions as we call them. And now we're able to do that. So that allows us to really bring the speeds down to that acceptable level for that striped bike lane, and has really moved the needle on a lot of our projects in Denver over the last couple of years.
How do you balance the community voice saying we want to keep our parking when that utilization number is so low?
Yeah, that it's a tricky push and pull. You know, we have to make sure that folks are able to access their homes and feel safe and feel comfortable. We heard a lot from the community that they don't feel really comfortable walking around, particularly at night. And if you have to park your car around the corner to then walk back to your house, that becomes kind of a personal safety issue for them. So we're really just trying to balance all these needs. And if you look at the design, the northern half of the corridor, we're able to keep parking on one side of the street. It kind of changes which side is our proposal right now, depending on where you're at in the corridor and the land uses and how many spaces we could keep. But then on the southern end of the street, we're able to convert this to what we call a neighborhood bikeway, which is kind of the shared lane, sharrows in the street, lots of traffic calming, diverters proposed at Harvard Street to keep those vehicle volumes really, really low. And there we're able to maintain all of the existing parking and serve those needs. So we're still providing that connectivity in a high comfort bikeway, and we're still lowering the vehicle speeds, making it safer both on Irving and on kind of the jog around Hazel Court.
Now they're seeking feedback. They have an online survey open until May 30th. And Some of these plans may be implemented, all of them may be implemented, none of them could be implemented. They just want to hear back from you.